Alright, what is up YouTube? Skiz1 here. Welcome to the first episode today of Wildstyle Wednesdays. So, I'll explain what we're going to be doing here today. I had a subscriber mention that they wanted to see specifically my, sort of like a live, not a live necessarily, but a real-time, voiceover of my process. So I figured the easiest way to do that would be in a live stream. Not that I expect anyone to show up here, but hey Blast Day, what's up? But I guess what I'm gonna do today is I have my daily sketchbook here, and I'll show you. I've been trying to do a daily outline. So some of them turn out, some of them don't, but I've been trying to reinforce a lot of the fundamentals just by making sure I get like one outline in each day. So I was gonna go sort of do a little bit of a voiceover of my process here, just for my daily sketch here. This is the one I did yesterday. Still not really sure if I'm happy with it or not, but it's not bad, not bad. I tried to work on this one a little bit with layering the letters, so I added some shadowing shading on tops of some of the letters there, as you can see. Also, this book is sort of falling apart, but yeah, I'm just gonna be doing my daily sketch here. Anyone has any questions, hit me up. GoPro higher, yes. See if that fixes it, 1 sec. I used to do everything right away in like permanent paint marker, but when I'm doing this kind of thing, I'm trying to focus on the actual letter structures, so trying to keep it a little more pencil-y, for lack of a better word. I've been trying to specifically do a different style day to day in this book. I don't know if I've accomplished that, but what time is it in my country? Right now, 9:30-ish p.m. I'm in Canada. Dang, you're all the way out in Russia. That's insane. I'm gonna be visiting Australia end of next month, end of March, and they're 14 hours ahead of where I live. So between that and a pretty much 20-hour flight-ish, plus layover time, I'm gonna get there 2 days after I leave here. It's gonna be insane. I'm gonna be so jet lagged. Visiting Russia, I don't know, you know, I would be down for that, and it would probably, I don't know about the weather there, because like it's cold here where I am, and I don't know if it would be colder or not, but visiting Russia is a place I would like to visit, yeah. But I gotta plan one trip at a time. I gotta keep my budget in mind. So a lot of what I'm doing with these sketches too is just trying stuff that I normally wouldn't be comfortable with. In almost all my pieces, it's very rare that you'll see me end a segment of a letter in a curve. So I've been trying to implement that a little bit more. Even with this one, I didn't really do it that much except for on the Z there. That's a throw, doesn't really count. Yeah, even this, I do like mostly straight cuts. I sort of want to expand from that a little bit. I'm also going to do a different word today. I could do my name over and over, but I want to sort of practice some letters that I don't usually get to, or don't usually make myself practice, is more to the point. Favorite work in the sketchbook? Man, it always takes me so long to decide if I like any of my stuff in here. I still am going to make a video on all the pieces in here. This one came out okay. I don't know. There's a lot of negative space in between the letters I'm not really happy with, but I really liked this one. I actually just used this as the sketch for a mural I did, and the video of that will be coming soon. Oh, it has... Some of these are like slightly coffee stained, because I usually go to a coffee shop to draw these. That one's not bad, I guess. I like how full this one is. Did that one for a buddy of mine. Never finished that one, that's bad. Yeah, it's really hard to choose a favorite, but I'm gonna... I don't know about that one. I actually do really like the one I did yesterday. Granted, that one I sort of finished more than the other ones. Like, I had the 3D and a few extras and even a little background. But I was happy with how that one came out. And that was sort of the reason I decided to finish it too, because I was happy with how it was coming out. So, if I had to pick a favorite thus far, it's probably that one. Yeah, the colored one I did as a... That one's actually going to be in a video too. I did the 3 marker challenge where you pick 3 random colors. I'm sure everyone knows what the 3 marker challenge is, but if you don't, you pick 3 colors and you have to make a piece with them. So the pieces, the colors I picked weren't that bad actually, but I looked up the 3 marker challenge on YouTube and it was just full of like these 4-year-olds coloring in like pre-outlined things that you would get at like McDonald's, and it pissed me off. So I'm like, I'm gonna do a 3 marker challenge and actually do a piece. So that one is what that's gonna be. I just gotta figure out when to fit that in the upload schedule. I'm trying to keep the pace here fairly quick, but experimenting and going fast do not go hand in hand. I'm just gonna corner the middle stick of the eye actually. Don't want to deal with fitting something in a small space there. Then I can connect the letters too. This was gonna say psych, but This is turning out to look like more of a T, so it's now going to say stack. And because I want this connector to go somewhere too. Yeah, 3 markers isn't super hard. The only thing that would make it hard is if you get like 3 really bad colors, like 3 that are either super close together or super, like just don't look good together. The piece I did, I got 3 awesome colors. I got a dark gray, the blue, obviously, and the purple. So, like, I was able to make a piece no problem. Yeah, you're right. 3 is, like, a totally normal number. But, for some reason, it's a big deal on a lot of these challenge videos. I was thinking of doing a series that was, like, the 15 marker challenge or something. Or, like, the 20 marker challenge. Because I was thinking it would actually be a lot harder to do a piece where you have to use a ton of colors rather than one where you're limited to colors. But I hadn't decided on that yet. Gotta make sure that's something I'd be able to do. My chair is super creaky. I'm trying to minimize the negative space in here. It'll be hopefully more clear when I've got, sorry, I'm adjusting this, when I've got the darker outline on it. No, that looks bad. No, it's definitely not bad to use, like, only 3 colors. And actually, like, the more colors you use, the harder it's going to be to make anything look good. That's part of why when you look at artists like Burst or Askew does it sometimes, but, like, when you think of a ton of colors, you think of Burst. He's impressive because he can use that many colors and still make a piece that looks good. And then other artists go and try and copy that, and they try and do a piece with every letter looking a different color, and it doesn't really turn out too good, and that's just because they're not at that level. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with only using a few colors. I want to show you guys something now. This piece that I just put the video yesterday morning of it. I used 5 shades of yellow, but other than the 5 shades of yellow, I only used 1, 2, 3, 4 other colors. Well, in this, so like 5. So really a total of like 10, or if you count the white, 11 colors in this piece. And that's a normal amount of colors for me. Like, I wouldn't want to, if I was doing a crazier background or something maybe, but the more colors you work into something, the more difficult it's going to be to make everything, to make all the colors complement each other in the right spots and to have the right contrast. So it just, the more colors you add, the more of a headache it's going to be. So yeah, nothing wrong with only using a few colors. And the thing is, the stuff that stands out the most in graffiti, and especially like if you go to train yards and stuff, the stuff that stands out the most, all they're doing is they've got a good solid fill-in color. So one solid bright, like solid pink, super bright pink, and then a black outline. They're not doing anything fancy, and they stand out like that. So from that perspective as well, it makes things stand out. You can make things stand out really nicely, still with only using a few colors. Yeah, so like a classic 3-color piece, it's gonna be in style forever. It's never gonna go out of fashion. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because a lot of artists that are newer, they make the mistake of diving into the realm of color, and it's tough. That's why specifically I thought of doing like a 15 marker challenge, because that would be super hard, and I would have to actually really think about that piece. This is pretty much the first time I have successfully done a stream. I tried a couple other ones and my internet just wasn't working out. But this time it is. I'm hoping to make it more of a regular thing. And if it becomes a thing people really like, I'm totally fine doing it more often. So people gotta let me know if they're watching the video after it's been streamed. Let me know in the comments and whatever. But yeah, personally, I really like streaming, because part of the reason, I've said it in a lot of my videos, one of the main reasons I'm on YouTube is just because I love being a part of the community, like the graffiti community on YouTube. So if I can live stream, that's a super easy way for me to be part of the community and actually connect with people. And like, I understand that starting these streams, they're not going to be like full of people who are subscribed to my channel or anything, but even if I can have a good conversation with, like right now, there's 2 of you guys here. Like, even if just having a good conversation like that is totally worth it for me. I really like that. I am going to get rid of this piece jutting out because it's going to get in the way of the next letter. It's going to make it look a little out of place, a little jagged. And the angle of this tail is not working for me either. Yeah, my whole desk shakes when I try and erase something. Sorry. Boom, that looks better. Yes, this isn't the most complex style or anything. Definitely not the best thing I've ever done either, but like I said, experimentation, that's really what's gonna help you get the fundamentals down. And I definitely need to improve. Everyone needs to improve. Yeah. Yeah, see, I always like jumping in on other people's streams too when they happen because, one, exactly what you're saying, you can ask them questions, which is impossible to do offline, like not live, because people are busy, but when they're streaming, you know they have time for your questions. Also, because like a lot of channels, you just don't really feel like you get to connect with them, like with the people running the channels. I don't like this K. By the way, if anyone's wondering, I have a review of the Molotov scroll stick coming out tomorrow morning. I unboxed this in my last unboxing video a couple days ago, and every single comment was like, oh, let's do a review of this. So I mean, I was going to anyway, but I pushed it forward in my schedule because so many people wanted it. I added this tail here specifically because I have one overlapping tail on that side of the piece, so it sort of evens it out a little bit, or at least that's the hope. I didn't do the best job. Alright, we'll see you later, Al. But one of the biggest things in graffiti is that you do want to sort of have some sort of symmetry going on in your pieces. So if I end up wanting to add a tail somewhere on this side of the piece, probably going to do the same on the other side to balance it out. One thing I'm not happy with right now is that over here I've done a really good job of managing negative space. There's barely any. Whereas here with these two letters, I have a ton of it. So I gotta figure out some sort of way to fix that also doesn't destroy the letter. And that second part is key. Something that also doesn't destroy the letter. So again, experimenting here. I could be making huge mistakes and doing exactly what I'm trying not to do, but I will know when I see it. If anyone's watching this after the video, after when it's a video rather than a live stream, let me know when live streams might work best for you if you're interested in them. Because my schedule is fairly flexible right now. Not a fan of that tail, but better than the negative space being there, I think. I also make the mistake of spending way too much time trying to fix up the pencil outline when I should really just be getting on with it. I like to make sure things are looking a-okay before I do anything funky with the markers. Now the reason I added that underline here, underlines, they're risky, they sort of end up looking tacky sometimes in my opinion, but I had so much up here going on that I needed something to fill down here. It makes the piece a lot straighter, sort of, that makes sense. I could be just rambling, in which case, sorry. But this is progressing nicely enough that I might throw on the outline now. One of the main things you should be looking at when you outline are what lines you need to be thick and what lines you need to be thin. And that is because thicker lines are going to draw the attention of the viewer more than thin lines. So I'm making this tail here a thin line because it's not the main part of the letter. It's an extra on top of the letter, so you don't really want to emphasize it too much, especially if it's jumping in front of the actual letter, which again is something a little risky. Although I do like doing that because then you can add some nice shadowing, make it a bit more of a dynamic piece, get some movement going on. My chair is so creaky. I am sorry. So I'm making this part a little bit thicker here. I'm sorry, these outlines are going a little choppy today. Lighting in here is not the best. When I'm sketching, it's usually daytime. I find that late at night, not that it's super late, but anytime in the evening, I should say, my hands are a little bit shaky, which is, of course, real bad if you're trying to do outlines of any kind. So most of the time I'm drawing during the day. As soon as you hear shaky hands, you think coffee, but believe it or not, I don't drink a lot of coffee. I haven't had any coffee today at all. I'm still getting it a little bit. Like that line, I'm not happy with that at all. But there's nothing I can do about it now, unfortunately. Ah. The problem with having a book this small is your hand is always falling off the side of the book, which makes these lines 5 times as hard. A lot of times I like to start with a thinner line and thicken it up afterwards. Maybe not the best or the cleanest way I could be doing that, but I do find that that's a little more comfortable for me right now. Also, when I do that, I end up over thickening lines, and then it just plain looks bad. It takes the whole effect out of your line if you overdo it. Overdoing it is almost worse than underdoing it, in my opinion, but I'm gonna adjust this light because I feel like my shadow is getting in the way. That light gets so hot, you can't even touch it. Hopefully that'll work a little better. It might not. Weave! Yeah, I know. The lighting in my room slash studio, I should say, it's always gonna be bad. Like, when I try and film a video in here, I open the blinds all the way, which is the most helpful, but then I turn the overhead light on, then I turn my lamp on, then I turn this lamp on, that's a separate lamp. And it's sort of just, nothing helps, you know? You feel like the world's against you in terms of lighting. One thing you also don't want to do is when you have connecting letters like this, some people make the mistake of boldening the lines that are shared between two letters, if you know what I mean. Like this letter is sort of part of the stick of the T. It's also part of the S here. Generally, if you're gonna make lines come together, you want to keep them thin, even though they are part of a main letter. You want to keep it thin just so it adds to the look of it actually connecting. What the hell was I just outlining? Oh, okay. When you lose your spot, LOL. Boom. Alright, main part of the S is done. Not that happy with it, but... Hopefully my crunching isn't super loud. I know it's super bad form to be eating during a live stream, but dude, bugles, man. If you guys notice what I'm doing there is making like choppy line motions, that's really bad. That's a habit you should get out of. Your lines are never going to look smooth if you just make them choppy like that. And that's why even when you watch a lot of the artists on YouTube, it's more noticeable when they're painting a wall, spray painting, anything like that. They're impressive because it just flows. The can in their hand literally just, they make it flow. They make it move the whole time and it goes in the right spots the whole time. That is ideally what you want with your lines if they're going to look nice. And when you look at those people on YouTube, I like, people say you shouldn't take too much influence off of other writers in general on social media, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I end up watching a lot of stuff on YouTube because it helps me figure out what they're doing that makes their stuff good. And then that in turn helps me figure out what I need to improve on, which is super useful to me. And that's, I mean, that's the thing. If you're always watching a video and applying it to yourself, if you get in that mind frame, that's almost like a continuous form of improvement, and it's gonna save you a lot of experimenting sometimes, and it'll save you time figuring out what you need to improve on, and then you can use that saved time to actually improve on stuff and get places faster, you know? And talking about continuous lines and all that, not making choppy lines, one of the worst things about my hands being shaky at night is that it's impossible to make smooth lines. It's so freaking hard. And like, you sort of learn to develop like, you learn to relax your hands almost a little bit, or at least I try to. But man, like, I really envy people that are just born with that. And that is one of the, like, some of the things, like, a lot of stuff. People don't understand that art is all, it's not skill, it's practice. Like, we put in practice. Every artist does. So when people say, "Oh, I don't have an artistic bone in my body," it's like, yeah, because you haven't fucking practiced. You've never picked up a pencil or a pen. Like, anyone can freaking do it. Just, I was gonna make a rant video on that, and I still might. But my point is, like, it's mostly about practice, right? But one of the few things that isn't about practice is how shaky your hands are. You're either born with steady hands or you're not, I think, as far as that goes. And mine aren't, just as I say that, mine aren't overly shaky, but, like, they could be less shaky, you know? I could benefit from a little bit less shake in the hands. So a lot of these lines are turning out very thin. It's because I put a lot of connectors, a lot of tails up at the top of the letters here. So I'm not really outlining any main parts of letters right now. That being said, I am coming up on some. Like this one. If you can cut a line like that, if you can learn to get the wisp motion, right at the right time when you need it to finish a line like that. I can do that, like, occasionally, but if I did that more often, my pieces would look next level. But they don't. Because of little stuff like that. Stuff that takes years of practice for everyone who can do that. Just like I'm saying, it's not their artistic bones. It's that they frickin' practiced, you know? It doesn't take 10 hours to be a master, it takes 10,000. And I think people forget that when they're talking about artists. I think even some artists forget that sometimes. Do I have a Surin or Jewel? I wish I could tell you. I am sorry, I don't know what you mean. I'm guessing that's either autocorrect or something, a marker, maybe, that I don't know of. Being that this line is the top of the A, I am going to thicken it a little bit here. See, you do need to step back from your piece every now and then. And that's one of the reasons you start to see little things that you don't see if you're too in focus too long. Alright. You'll find that I'm using the small outliner most of the time. That's because generally I can thicken up lines afterward, but the initial one is usually not something that I'm confident enough to do in a thick marker like that one there. If anyone has any questions about anything really, my piece that I'm doing, anything else, let me know and I will answer those. Because I connected one letter via this little thing, I sort of feel like I need to connect all the letters just for the sake of flow and the sake of uniformity is more to the point, I guess, uniformity. So I am going to connect the A through here as well. And when you're melding letters together, that's really when those nice little wispy lines can come in handy. If you can do that well, you're ballin'. Yeah, see, like, even though this line I'm doing is a main line in the letter A, I'm doing it small first, specifically because I'm working in a small space in here. I don't want to be using a large marker when there's a danger of disrupting other stuff in the small space. Yuck. What is that? What was I trying to do? Ah. Okay, these letters connecting is gonna look bad, but lesson learned, I guess. Also, if anyone has specific requests for videos they want to see on the channel, let me know, because I really do like to tailor the videos and what I produce to what the viewers want to see. That is sort of half of the point of having a channel. So if anyone wants to leave in the comments or in the live stream anything they want to see, let me know. Feel free. One thing I do find a little easier about using this bigger marker is it's a little easier to get the continuous sort of lines you want sometimes. And that's because there's less. With the small marker, a small variation looks huge, whereas with a large marker, a small variation in the path of your line isn't as noticeable. Oh shit, where's this C and K gonna connect? Probably right here now. Gotta. Because I ain't connecting up here. I don't like that. Yeesh. Ah, that might be okay, I don't know. One thing that's important too is, see, like I mentioned earlier, this book is my sort of experimental book. It's where I do my daily sketches and whatnot. So a lot of things can go wrong, like with some of my other pieces here. Some stuff went wrong in that piece for sure. I mean, some stuff goes wrong in every piece. But what I'm getting at is, it's not only about like doing the practice, it's also important to actually look at your piece afterwards, and see like what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Like, find your mistakes a little bit. And I don't mean look at it the moment you're done and be like, all right, I'm done. What did I do? What I like to do is, like, when I took the book out today, I went and looked at this piece I did yesterday and then decided, like, a little while ago, what did I like about this? What did I not like about this? Because after you pull back from it, don't look at it for a while, then pull it back out again, you can really see you see it in a different light. Like, your brain's not tired of looking at it. Your brain isn't pre-focused on any areas. You just see it as what it is going to look like to someone else who didn't make the piece. And that's the important perspective, because you're the only one that made the piece. You're the only one that's going to see it in that perspective. Everyone else is going to see it in the perspective that they didn't make the piece. They're going to notice all the other stuff that you might not notice if you're too focused in on a particular element. So I would recommend, one of the huge things for improvement is just revisiting your pieces after a little break. And that can be something that you can do during your pieces too. I generally like to do my pieces in one sitting, because it's hard to come back to stuff. Like, you get up from a piece and the chance of you never coming back to it, at least for me, is like 30, 40, 50% sometimes. Like, there's some in here that I haven't done yet. Where are they? Actually, there's only one right now in here that I haven't done yet. And, oh man, where is it? It's around here. Man, I'm not even gonna, oh, this one. I haven't finished this outline. And I want to come back to it. I want to make sure when this book is done, it's actually done. But, like, that was freaking 2 weeks ago, maybe. And I haven't been able to come back to it.